I thank the gentleman from Arizona. He and I hold a deep common conviction that Arizona is the most important and best state in the Union, and I don't think anyone here would debate that. Mr. Speaker, last Monday, October 30th, we were delivered the overhyped bombshell story. Special Counsel Robert Mueller would introduce some damning evidence about President Trump's collusion with Russia via indictments. On Friday the 27th, someone involved in the grand jury investigation, now don't forget, Mr. Speaker, that the purpose of a grand jury is secrecy, but someone in that organization leaked information to the press, specifically CNN, with no reasonable person being able to count as a friend to the President of the United States. And it caused every political pundit in the country to begin surmising who would be the first to fall. Reporters were assigned the story, revisiting campaign notes and combing through stacks of research and fact sheets about so-called evidence of Russia collusion. Then, the big reveal. Paul Manafort and Rick Gates were indicted for crimes related to their business dealings with a Ukrainian politician clinging to power in a country undergoing revolution back in 2014. The FBI had been trying to indict them ever since. There was no mention of the Trump campaign, not any whatsoever in the 12-count indictment. In other words, Mr. Speaker, the announcement amounted to what many have called a nothing burger. Mainstream media members who had all spent all weekend promising the viewers and their readers some new damning evidence about Trump were aghast. Mueller had let them down. How could they face their audience now with nothing to show? But wait, another indictment snuck in the last few hours, only a few hours later, right in the nick of time. George Papadopoulos, now here's our guy. This is the guy. He actually went to Russia, and he proposed Trump meet with Putin. We've got him now. Well, no. Turns out Papadopoulos was an unpaid intern who possessed a background in researching Russia. When he suggested Trump meet with the Russians, he was shot down quickly and firmly. And the indictment against Papadopoulos didn't even have to do with his work on the campaign. It was found because it was indicted because he had lied to the FBI. Again, no collusion with the Trump campaign found whatsoever. But that didn't stop the media from sensationalizing the news. After all, they have a job to do. But the American people didn't fall for it, Mr. Speaker. The New Yorker's legal writer, Jeffrey Tobin, and the liberal Vox.com have suggested that Mueller seems to be conducting his investigation like he's going after a mafia mob boss. The problem with treating the Trump campaign as an organized crime organization, clearly, as it presumes Trump's guilt, no matter how well-intentioned and full of integrity Mr. Mueller might be, if he is treating Trump like Al Capone, his tactics are wrong. When trying to pursue charges on a mafia boss, the FBI pulls in the street guys, threatens them with life in jail or some other steep charge unless they spill the beans on their superior. Once they crack, they bring in the next level, all the way to the top. This is a well-known tactic, and it incentivizes those arrested to invent some spurious testimony against their superiors. Could Mr. Mueller be acting with vengeance, or to vindicate his good friend and colleague James Comey, who had a very public feud with the president? Well, we don't know, Mr. Speaker, but it's hard to take any charges with this investigation seriously when they're going about it in this fashion. The main point is this, Mr. Speaker. At least James Comey, the media, and the Democrats desperately want collusion to exist between Trump and Russia. And when you want something bad, you might even begin to believe it's true, even if it's not. But there's good news. Anyone sincerely looking for the drama of American officials actually colluding with the Kremlin need look no further now than the emerging scandal concerning the sale of American uranium reserves to Russia during Hillary Clinton's time at the State Department. The FBI in 2009, under the Obama administration, began investigating Russia's use of bribery, kickbacks, and extortion to gain a bigger foothold in the American atomic energy industry. They knew this was happening. The record is clear. Of course, Mr. Speaker, American nuclear resources are a critical component of America's national security. So any detail between Russian companies and the U.S. atomic energy resources would require a sign-off from the State Department. After all, Russia is a hostile foreign government, correct? Democrats certainly seem to believe so now, even though in past years most of them couldn't find Russia on a map. So when Rosatom, a Russian energy group, took control of the Canadian Uranium 1, which had control of mining and uranium stakes stretching from Central Asia to the American West, that deal needed U.S. State Department approval. After all, this meant that Russia, a hostile foreign power, would control 20% of America's uranium industry. And of course, as Obama's FBI was investigating Russia for bribes and extortion related to atomic energy, this deal should have raised a red flag for the State Department. Vladimir Putin really wanted the deal to go through because, per the New York Times, it would allow him to realize his goal of becoming one of the world's major atomic energy players. The only thing standing in his way was Hillary Clinton's State Department. The month the deal was approved by Hillary Clinton's State Department, Bill Clinton received $500,000 from a Russian investment bank with ties to the Kremlin for a, quote, speaking engagement in Moscow. Then, Mr. Speaker, Uranium One's chairman used his family foundation to make a series of donations to the Clinton Foundation, totaling $2.35 million. Now, being under agreement to disclose all their foundation contributions publicly, the Clintons neglected still to reveal the Uranium One donations. That's pretty convenient, Mr. Speaker. Are we paying attention here, sir? Now, since the media seems to have an insatiable appetite for Russian collusion, let's take a look at the Uranium One deal. That's a story worth looking into, Mr. Speaker, and I would bet the biggest stake in Washington with anyone in this place that if a special counsel was appointed to look into it, that investigation would bring some truly legitimate results. And with that, I thank